have no idea how to dress myself anymore. I have been feeling very lost with my sense of style. And I know I'm not alone in this. I feel like the constant trend cycle and the recycling of new aesthetics on a daily basis at this point is really a reflection about how people are struggling to find their own identity with how they're expressing themselves through fashion. If I'm being honest, and I think a lot of people can relate to this, my sense of style has been completely disrupted and at a total loss since the pandemic. A lot of people's lifestyle has at least adjusted. For me, it's taken a complete 180. I used to be running around New York, wearing clothes that were frankly very uncomfortable, wearing 6-inch heels, and just living a life that frankly was at odds with my own happiness, and my life looks completely different now than it did before the pandemic. And maybe like you, I didn't just change over the last 4 years. I've gone on like a freaking heroine's journey that has completely transformed who I am as a person, in most cases for the better. Now moving into 2024, I have a very clear vision that I'm heading into this season of self-actualization where I'm seeking direction and vision in my life, and fashion being the most superficial part of who we are and oftentimes reflecting what's going on the inside. I feel like it's the easiest thing that I can first tackle on this self-actualization journey. So this is me hard launching my new series, Becoming Her. Series on internal and external finding, because you already know who you are. I know who I am. I just need to find my way back to her. And I think if you're watching this video, you probably need to do the same. In the Becoming Her series, I'm going to get very raw and real with you about the things that I'm struggling with, and going to document how I am trying to move forward with self-actualization and having a better, stronger, more distinct vision for myself. And like I mentioned, I'm starting with style both because I think it's the maybe simplest part of self-actualization. I do think it's probably the most straightforward thing that you can start tackling on your journey of self-growth. And for me, it's always something that I've been very confident with. I mean, look at my surroundings. I'm somebody who takes a lot of pride in having a very bold, bright, unapologetic aesthetic. Moving into my 30s, it's something that I've really struggled with, and I found myself thinking, who the hell am I? So how do we self-actualize and go on this journey of finding what our personal style is, especially if you are past your 20s and now like me in your 30s, or at any stage of your life. But if you're somebody who's always had maybe a distinct vision and you just feel lost right now, it can get particularly overwhelming. I'm speaking for myself here. Now, I get very overwhelmed when I look to other people's sense of style because, simply put, I like a lot of different aesthetics. And it can be very hard for me to pinpoint and say, that is what I like, or that is what reflects me. I can tell you what I don't like, but for the most part, I do really appreciate and like a lot of things. So instead of looking towards external stimuli as my first inspiration point to figuring out what the hell my personal style is, I'm going to actually look internally and look toward and what I love wearing as the first step. Now, Allison Bornstein has been a huge inspiration for me. I'm sure many of you follow her, especially on TikTok. She has her 3-word method, and the 3-word method is going to be my foundation for how I'm transforming my style. The 3-word method is you identify 3 words, and they have to be very specific words. More specific that you get with the language around your 3 words, the better. And those 3 words should ultimately reflect what you like wearing, how you want to express yourself with fashion, and how you want to feel on a daily basis. To identify my 3 words, I'm going to show you 4 different outfits that I love wearing, that I get a lot of compliments on, that I feel really good in, and that I would distinctly say are things that would reflect who I am internally to the outside world through fashion. After we identify my 3 words, I'm then going to show you things in my closet that don't align at all with those 3 words, things that might be a reflection of a past version of me, things that I maybe bought on a whim, and things that just don't frankly reflect who I am as a person, to give you some inspiration for what you might want to do once you identify your own 3 words. I'm definitely not going to solve my entire fashion crisis in a short 15-minute YouTube video, but I hope it gives you a good starting point, and honestly, I hope it gives me a place to go with my fashion, because I'm very lost right now. So let's play dress up and figure out our 3 words. Why do I feel like this first outfit is just a caricature? But I kind of dress like a caricature, so here we are. But let's break down exactly why this outfit is something that I could pull out of my closet and feel amazing in and just walk out the door. And then I'm communicating exactly who I am to the world. And I also just feel really good in this. And fashion, first and foremost, to me, is something that I should feel good in. Break down exactly why I feel so confident in this to help me decide what my 3 words are. But first and foremost, I can tell you the reason why I'm so attracted to this just off of like first impressions, is the color. Love bright colors in my clothing. Yes, sometimes I like wearing all black, sometimes I like wearing all white, but like I really don't actually wear that many neutrals, or I'm not attracted to having that many neutrals in my wardrobe. I find myself when I'm shopping looking and craving for color. We know that color is very important to me. Second reason why I like this outfit is the structure of it. I find myself being very gravitated towards pieces that have structure to the fabric, but also structure in how they're fabricated. I also like that it's playful. It almost feels like a very sarcastic take on a traditional like tweed Chanel suit. It's a crop top. It has like very sparkly pearl accenting to it. It is not just pink, it is like highlighter Barbie pink, which is why I think it's almost like this sarcastic, almost feels like a joke, but in a very fashion and chic way. I love fashion like that, where it almost feels like a commentary on something, or like there's a joke to be made about the look. Even if this just like reads as like a very like simple, straightforward, if not basic tweed pink suit to you, to me, I read this as something that's like a little bit sardonic. Finally, it's undeniably feminine. I love pieces that just exude femininity, like very traditional femininity, but in a way that's not like trad wife vibes, and more like that sarcastic, almost like we're in on the joke vibes, you know what I mean? Second outfit is something that I have worn dozens of times. I have worn it on stages, I've worn it to important meetings, I have worn it just to like go grocery shopping. This is an outfit that has never failed me. Very whimsical. It's clearly not taking itself too seriously, but it has a very distinct direction with what it's communicating. Like, it's nostalgic, it's fun, it's very 90s. With the bias cut here, it does have a little bit of sexiness to it, so I would classify this as being a little bit romantic. But this isn't romantic in the traditional sense. I think it's just very like feminine with a fun sense of humor. This is what I would pair this outfit with, is the Bottega boots. These are just a pain to get on, but you can see like a boot like this with the color, it's very quirky. Paired with this outfit, it's just like, it's the vibe. It's something that I feel really good in, but it is something that I feel like deviates a little bit from where I typically go. And that's maybe because it is like a very straight skirt silhouette. Typically I go for something like more flowy, more A-line, but I love this detail right here with the chain link. It has the puff sleeve shoulder, so I feel like that communicates that kind of command power vibe that I want to go for. The little go-go boots are something that are more whimsical, a little bit more quirky. We're starting to hone in on some words if you're catching my vibe. I literally love this outfit so much. I've only worn this once, and the one time I wore it, I was like, no one can tell me anything in this outfit. I grew up in Phoenix, so I feel this is a little bit of an homage to my Southwest roots with this floofy jacket. I'm like half joking. But I like this for a variety of reasons. One, it has the structure. Two, it's very feminine. Like, hello, this jacket is like friggin' poodle. But three, it still has that like very romantic, flirty, hyper femme look to it with the slit on the skirt. If this skirt just did like a regular denim skirt, I think it would be beautiful on some people, but for me, it would just read as frumpy. I need pieces that look more romantic. So we're starting to hone in on some words if you're catching the patterns here. Third and final look is so cute. I could literally throw up with how much I love this. Actually, I feel like to get the full vibe, the over the shoulder situation. Look, I think captures what some of the other outfits were alluding to, which is whimsy, right? It has the juxtaposition of the floral motifs with the leather, with the silly little menswear socks and the Mary Janes. Has a little bit of unexpectedness to it, but at its core, I also think this outfit is very romantic. The sheer socks, the like linen, you can't see, but it's a linen and silk dress with the florals. There's also these really unexpected details on here. The leather jacket just keeps it from being saccharine sweet, and it keeps it in more of like that romantic territory. Now that we've looked at some outfits that I feel really good in and feel like me, I think I can start piecing together what my 3 words are. And if you've been listening to the language and the vernacular that I was using in those clips, I think it's pretty clear what my 3 words are. If you've already guessed it, leave it in a comment below. Across all of those outfits, I think there was a very clear tone of making a statement, right? Nothing ever, in my opinion, ever felt expected. I always try to dress in a way that feels commanding, and I feel my best when I am in a very commanding and powerful look. It can be bright, it can be colorful. Like clearly I'm attracted to things that are not neutral, to say the least. But it's not even about the color necessarily. It's more about the fit, the structure, the fabrics, and honestly just how the pieces lay on me. So with all of that in mind, I think powerful is my first word. Powerful is a feeling that I want to feel every day. It's something that I aspire to, and it's something that I want to communicate. Honestly, those kind of three factors of communication, aspiration, and feeling are a really good filter, I found, to how you should think about your three words. The second word that I would choose is whimsical. Every outfit that I showed was unexpected, right? There was like the leather with this outfit, the little socks too, the pattern on that slip dress with the matching cardigan, right? Everything had an element that was like just a little bit off. It was just like a little bit left of center. There's always something a little bit charming about it. And for that reason, whimsical is my second word. Even when I'm shopping for like sweats or just basics, I always look for something that is a little bit charming and different about the look. It can be like a pleat on a shoulder. It could be a different type of fabric. Look for things like in that like peach sweater, how that had like kind of the chevron stitching that pulled in at the waist. All of those things are just like small pieces of whimsy that I like to incorporate into my outfits that don't make it feel so simple and classic. In fact, I wouldn't describe my style as classic at all, and I would much rather lean into the things that are a little bit unexpected and whimsical. Now, the third and final word I kind of struggled with because I was like, is it feminine? Is it girlish? Is it soft? Soft didn't feel right at all because I really want to lean more into power and powerful, and there could be some nice juxtaposition with leaning into soft and femininity, but it didn't feel right. It felt like too gendered and it felt too stereotypical. And certainly like femme and femininity could kind of get what I wanted to lean into, but there was something about the specialness of clothes that I wanted to capture. Yes, it's kind of like in that whimsy bucket, but it's almost like this idea of making every day special with fashion and romanticizing your life. So I started to think about romanticizing your life as a good filter because fashion is something to me that makes me feel very different based off of what I'm wearing. As an autistic person, I've also found that I use fashion as a communication tool to communicate things about myself where words might be failing me. There's that element of my clothes that I want to communicate that is about specialness and romanticizing your life, as well as like the girlishness, the femininity that I personally think looks really good on me and makes me feel really good. So my third word is romantic. It's about the specialness and the like pleasure that I take in clothing and that I think makes me feel particularly good when I'm wearing fashion. So powerful, whimsical, and romantic are my three words. Now that I know my three words, I want to show you some pieces that do not fit into my three words. It shows, right? These are pieces that I rarely wear. I don't feel good when I wear them, and I just need to get rid of them. I'm going to show you a couple of pieces that I think are better suited to my three words in hopes that it helps you understand like the very simple adjustments you can make to your wardrobe, even if that means just like changing how you style stuff and not necessarily doing a full overhaul to your wardrobe, which might get very expensive, it's very wasteful. But having these three filters of powerful, whimsical, and romantic gives me a very clear sense of the things that no longer belong in my wardrobe. First is this. I could not tell you why I bought this. This is a piece that I bought thinking this was gonna be like my casual jacket. When have I ever been a casual a day in my life? Denim cream jacket. This does not scream power. It's very like drapey and slouchy, which nothing wrong with that. It just doesn't fit into my three words. It's also kind of a weird color. It has no fun details, right? It's like very simple. It feels like it belongs in somebody's wardrobe whose three words might fall under like classic or oversized or this is not something that falls in my three words. Instead, these two jackets are things that I'm very drawn towards. This is a very simple white blazer, a whimsical accent to it. It has these racing stripes on the arms. It's made out of like this like silky structured suiting fabric. So it feels very special. It feels very charming and it feels very girlish because it still has that structure in the shoulders, like there's shoulder pads, which I love, but it has a very feminine fabric to it. So it's like, you can see in the clips, it's very structured, but it has that femininity with the type of fabric that's included on here. And then for something more casual, this would suit me better than this. They look the same, but they're such different vibes, right? This is a Cezanne cardigan jacket, and I found that Cezanne is a really good place for me to find basics because they have color, they do really interesting and charming like stitchings and details, like things that are just like a little bit different. And I was really attracted to this because it's long, it has these beautiful pockets, the tortoiseshell buttons, and the fabric is this really nice, thick kind of weave stitch material. So it is quite casual, but it is something that also leans into that romance because it's so cozy. So it's something that captures like all three of my words, maybe not power, but I do think this is something that like captures whimsy and romance very perfectly. I also feel like the difference between these two tops is exactly what I'm talking about of why my three words work and also what doesn't work for me. So let's talk about what doesn't work, and it's this top. So both of these in the service, they're both just like statement tops, right? This top I have never worn. I bought it from Zara 2 summers ago, and on the surface, I think it looks really cute, but every time I put it on, I feel like I'm like cosplaying as a 1970s character. It's too bohemian for me. That had like a sheer element to this. I would probably do lace, not crochet. It just feels too bohemian, relaxed, and not powerful, whimsical, or romantic like at all. So I'm gonna fill my wardrobe with like tops just like this, but you kind of get the vibe. This is a top that I've worn to death. Like I've worn this top so many times. All of these little hand-stitched roses all over are exactly what I'm talking about when I'm talking about whimsy and romance. It has these really like padded and like ballooned sleeves, like padded shoulders and balloon sleeves. So there's the power. It also ties in the front, so you get like a little bit of cleavage going, but it's not over the top. So to me, that also reads as a little bit of power as well in an almost unexpected way. Like this is exactly the type of like very like statement blouse that I should be looking for. A crochet top like this, like what the hell was I thinking? We're gonna end it on some basics with a gray sweater. Start with what doesn't work, and both of these are from the same brand, by the way. I'm in Big Little Lies, I just got divorced, I'm wrapping myself in my cardigan and looking out at the sea. Like that's what this cardigan is. It's very cute. It has the ruffles, which you could argue are romantic and feminine. However, it's not structured enough for me to just want to wear consistently. I don't think I'm gonna get rid of this because I think this is something that I can like travel in just for off or casual days. But honestly, I'm not attracted to it because it doesn't capture the power that I want in a lot of my clothing, and it feels too soft and too like pretty. And I think between like pretty and romance, this feels too pretty. It doesn't feel romantic because it's lacking that like powerful statement to it. Now, this is a perfect gray sweater for me. It is very structured. It has the puff sleeve. It has a peplum. I do not care what y'all say about peplum. I love peplum. I will always love peplum. I always have, always will. It's the same fabric. It's a cashmere wool blend, but it also has these little details on it. Different stitching on the arms, different stitching on the bodice, different stitching at the waist. Everything has a detail, so it's adding that whimsy, and honestly just feels very special. That's the difference between something that's like very slouchy and oversized for me, which would work for somebody else, but this feels good to me. And that is how I discovered my personal style using Allison Bornstein's 3-word method. Powerful, whimsical, and romantic are my 3 words. This approach has made shopping so much easier for me. If you want a full like shopping guide with how I use my 3 words as a filter when I shop, let me know. I'm happy to do a video about that. Hopefully this helped you figure out what your 3 words might be. Go forth and go through your closet, try on all of your outfits that feel really good to you, that feel most like you and don't feel like a costume or a caricature of you, but feel like they are representing you in your best sense. I would be so grateful if you wanted to hang out with me and subscribe to my channel. You can also find me on TikTok and Instagram. See you later, y'all.